PC Insider Hit brought to you by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. Any age, any sport, any injury, they've got you covered at Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. New Surgery Center and Clinic. Lakeland Drive, Flowood, MississippiSportsMedicine.com. We welcome in Mike Detillier, LSU Insider, Saints, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike joins us on the Modelo guest line. Paul Mainieri, LSU's longtime baseball coach, makes it official, retires. Over the weekend, Mike said that he would several weeks ago on this show. Did a great job at LSU and Notre Dame, cut out of that Miami-Dade cloth with his dad as a coach's son. And now LSU will be looking for a coach, and will it be Tony Vitello or someone else? I don't believe any shot Kevin O'Sullivan's leaving Florida. So it's Vitello and maybe some others. Mike, what do you make of it? Who are you hearing as far as maybe who's number one in the clubhouse for the LSU job?
I think O'Sullivan's the guy that Scott Woodward would want.
Interesting.
Just telling you. Again, it's a tough get, but one thing with Scott, he's armed with a lot of money. And he made a comment to me last year. He said, when they hired me, I understood my job. I'm the guy that sometimes got to put the black hat on, and I gotta be the bad guy, and do some things that I gotta do. And we got some coaches here. And understood where he was going with this. That said, because of different circumstances, we got to replace. And I can't make a bad hire. And so I'm going to shoot for the moon. I'm going to go for the best guy I can get. And so I think he'd try to get O'Sullivan. Okay, we'll see where that lands. If not, I think that the UT coach would be his second guy. But I think he's going to do everything he can for O'Sullivan.
Interesting. All right, so O'Sullivan or Vitello.
Yeah, I think that list is, I think, really short. It was, we had started hearing that Nicky Fargas would leave LSU to go to the WNBA. There was a lot of people here and a lot of people across the South. There's no way that they could get Kim Mulkey out of Baylor. No way. And he did it. So some of the same people that are saying there's no way he's going to get O'Sullivan, Vitello, just maybe. I think those are the same people that said he couldn't land Mulkey, and he landed Mulkey. And so, baseball means something special here at LSU.
Sure.
Because of what Skip did, there's no doubt about that his legacy lives on. And so we'll see where this lands, but I think it's a very short list, and money will not be an issue.
So all right. So I don't think O'Sullivan's leaving, but I do think Tony Vitello would walk to Baton Rouge. So I think he's the next head coach
I think
in
it's one of those
LSU.
two. I really do. I think it's one of those two guys, and again, with the money they have pumped into the facilities here at LSU, and again, it's sometimes difficult to kind of gauge what's inside someone's head as a coach when you make that decision to leave. Sometimes it's matters outside of the diamond or the football world or the basketball world. It's an opportunity to do something and start something over again. And so I think the two names you brought up. I think it'll be one of those two individuals. And again, I think there'll be no doubt that they're ready to cut that check, and it's a little bit different here because of what Skip laid built the foundation on.
Mike Detillier on the Modelo guest line. So LSU looking for a coach. They've been the best baseball program in college baseball since 1990. And Mainieri had a good run, and we'll see. I think it'll be Tony Vitello out of Tennessee, and they'll get back rolling quick. Vitello's an interesting cat, but I think he could be perfect for Baton Rouge. Drives that Lamborghini, I think, in Knoxville, single. Good-looking guy, but obviously very, very talented baseball coach. So we'll see what shakes out there. Mike, Arch Manning starts his road to his recruiting tour, if you will. Now that COVID restrictions have been lifted, he and his dad Cooper and the family, whoever, will go and see some colleges. This is going to be a monster recruitment. What do you make of it? And I see here that Nelson Stewart is running point on the recruitment. I know you know him. He's the head football coach at Newman. What do you make of the Arch Manning recruitment really getting kicked off this month?
Well, I never thought I'd see anybody more widely recruited than Leonard Fournette. I didn't think I'd live long enough for that. And then here comes Arch. And so he's going to be the most widely recruited prep football player ever from the state of Louisiana. It's certainly different because Archie and I have talked about this. Certainly different than when both his uncles came out with Peyton and Eli. It's different world of recruiting. And so he's on the tour. I do know Notre Dame and Clemson and Texas have put on some pretty big heat over the last couple of weeks or months to recruit him heavily. One, I don't think he's going to LSU. I mean, I've heard that from a lot of different people because of the fact that most of his teammates have ended up either committing or signing with LSU. But, I can't see Arch at LSU. And it's going to be – I don't think it's going to be drawn out for a long period of time, his recruitment. But, he can go wherever he wants pretty much. And I think, certainly those schools I named, of Clemson, of Texas, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, or Georgia is in the mix heavily for him, and he's a game changer because of his skill set. And his skill set is built a lot more like his grandpa than it was like Eli and Peyton. He's a movement guy, and you can see it in his play. He kind of runs around and moves around that pocket, and he's very much like Grandpa, like Old Red, and so and it's a different generation too. That's another thing. Different generation of recruiting, and compared to when Eli and Peyton came out. And so, he's got everybody after him, and he's handled it well. Listen, 15, 16-year-old, just think about, you got all these schools after you. And he's handled it really, really well. And Cooper and his wife also have done a really good job of sort of keeping people at bay. Because everybody wants to get in your ear. They want to tell you where to go. Okay? That's fine, but it's up to him. And Art just told me more than one time that, hey, listen, I'm not getting involved. Like you said, I had three, and they made that decision of where they wanted to go, and we would talk. But like you said, now with the grandson, Cooper's in my spot now. So, like you said, he can answer all those questions.
Mike?
But he'll be a national recruit, and Again, he can go anywhere he wants. And so I think he's going to go on the route of the world tour, so to speak, of college football.
Yeah, we're told.
He talked about going to Stanford and visiting there and Southern Cal and other spots too. So, but I do know in recent weeks, Sarkisian has really turned the heat up, and so has Notre Dame. And Clemson, and that's connection there certainly. Dabo and Archie and the Mannings know each other very, very well.
Yeah, so right now it seems to me that everybody's kind of landing on that: Texas, Clemson, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, kind of in the mix. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I know Alabama has I can't. It's almost similar to LSU. I can't see Arch Manning at Alabama. To be honest with you, but I could see him at the other places. And again, he's a bit of a game changer, and it's a remarkable year of 2023 in Louisiana, where this state has sort of dried up at the quarterback position in recent years. Growing up here, and it was Bradshaw, Burt Jones, Joe Ferguson, Doug Williams, James Shack Harris, my radio partner Bobby Hebert, Forcade, and Norris Weiss, and then a little bit later you had another short run with Stan Humphries, Tom Hodson, and then all of a sudden, I mean, the well ran dry, and you had the two Mannings, and then Dak came out from Houghton, so you had that recent with Dak, but in 2023 there will probably be 7 Division I signed quarterbacks out of the state of Louisiana.
Wow.
7. I in my lifetime, I don't remember that many in one year. But they and Eli Hershwood's from Zachary, along with Arch, sort of lead the pack. But man, Reese Mooney, Jai Eugene Jr. Man, I can go on and on. I mean, it's really shocking. It goes to show that 7-on-7 has changed the world now, and it has in the state of Louisiana. Great receivers and defensive backs this state has produced throughout the years, but the quarterback spot had been a dry one for a long period of time, and now that has dramatically changed. So put it to you this way: I can go to any high school campus, and if you pick the right one, you can meet up with about 20 college coaches real quick.
That is incredible. Incredible. Mike Detillier, Louisiana Insider, WWL Radio, TV New Orleans. He's joining us on the Modelo guest line. Big article on theathletic.com this morning on Arch Manning's recruitment. Mike's known the Manning family for decades. Of course, it's Cooper Manning's son, and then Archie is his granddad, and Peyton and Eli his uncles. And I think
Arch's little brother actually is coming to. We have the Louisiana Line Camp here. Pete Jenkins, everybody knows Pete.
Sure.
Has his camp here. It's the largest line camp in America in late June, and his Arch's little brother Hyde, who's going to be a freshman this year, backup center, is coming to the camp. And so Archie and I were talking about it. He said, "I got me a lineman, Mike. I don't know how much bigger. I don't know how big he's going to be, but got me a lineman." And so Hyde's going to end up here too. And so that's going to be a picture somewhere. where because he starts out as a backup center, but Manning to Manning, center and quarterback.
Wow. Wow. And so Dabo is an unbelievable recruiter.
Yes, he is.
Sark's an unbelievable recruiter. And Lane is a solid recruiter, but the Ole Miss tie, I think, gives them a little bit of bump there. But, man, I think it will be hard to beat Dabo on the couch or Sark. Mike.
I think if you were asking me for a front runner, I would think Clemson would be the team. If you ask me today who you want to put on top of the list, it would be Clemson. And certainly a little bit of history there because of what's come out of there with Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and before that, Tajay Boyd. Man, they've had a run at that quarterback position, and so and there's certainly familiarity with Dabo. Sark is certainly an interesting candidate because of how well he has handled the young quarterbacks at Alabama and his development there, and sort of a new world on what goes on at University of Texas, and how quickly he can rebuild. Because I think something's lost there. It's not because of talent. Every year, don't they recruit the top talent in the state of Texas?
Yeah.
And, they are a run-of-the-mill 8-win, maybe 9 at times, win team. And, something's not right. Because I know, for years, and maybe the expectations are super high because of what Darrell Royal did there. And then, Mac comes in years later, and he does a really good job. But he was getting quarterbacks poached left and right out of Texas. Whoever was given in his ear about quarterbacks wasn't giving him the best advice, other than with Vince Young. And now, Sark's in an interesting spot there because that's a sleeping giant school in reality. Because you go to Austin, Texas, and tour that campus, it's about as close to the Taj Mahal as you're going to get as far as college football is concerned. Now, Oregon's got what they got. It's unreal, but it's a pretty close second. And the ties with Ole Miss, with his dad, with his grandpa, are there. But again, we're still talking about a couple years down the line. Is Lane still going to be at Ole Miss?
It's a good question.
At that time. Because, there's a lot of people in the football world that believe that this is the springboard for him to go to another school. And I get it in today's world that, you're selling tickets, you want name recognition, you want offenses to score. And he sort of fits the bill for all of that.
Sure, he's a great play caller, and he's running an offense just like Sark and Clemson that Arch Manning would love, right?
And so it sort of all fits the bill. I know Kirby Smart and Georgia also, they were in fairly early. LSU was really the first school to put a lot of heat. And when I first heard about it, I had a friend of mine that attended a practice, and he was sending me pictures of Ed Ogeron and Archie on the sidelines together. I knew exactly why Ed was there. Not that he didn't want to visit with Archie, but I knew exactly who he was there to see. But I can't see that him coming to LSU, and so I think. And again, I think they want Arch to kind of grind his own little place. He's got enough pressure on him already. When you consider, his grandfather's legacy, and then his two uncles' legacies in college football, you caught in some pretty heavy water for a teenager.
No.
Expectations aren't for you to be good. Your expectations are if you're going to be great.
True. This is going to be wild. Ole Miss, Clemson, Texas, maybe Notre Dame. That's what it looks like to, I think, most people. And all have their, strengths. And we'll see. That's Mike Detillier, Saints Insider, LSU Insider, WWL Radio, TV New Orleans, joining us on the Out of Bounds Show. Mike, are they going to have the Manning Passing Academy this year, or what did they decide?
Sure will. It got moved back. Something to do with the NCAA. So we had to reshuffle and move the Louisiana Line Camp, which Pink Jenkins is involved with. That's been moved to late June. And then there's the pro football camp. All of that within a week, those two camps. And then there's a week off, and then the Manning camp's in July. So, yes, they'll have it this year. I think Archie told me it's around 1,100 kids already have signed up for it. I think he's put sort of a hard line. When it gets to 1,200, they shut it down. So, but I think from what the last conversation I had, which was about 2 weeks ago with him, it's around 1,100 already have signed up. But he told me he said, I will send you the list, is the most college quarterback counselors I've ever had commit. And I think his number was 48. And we've had in the 40s, like 41, 42. But he told me, man, it was they all accepted. So they'll have up to almost 50 quarterback counselors, and so these are the guys that are starting in college football today. That'll be here to help out the high school players, and the first time ever, one school will have two quarterbacks. It's never happened before, but it'll happen this year.
Wow.
LSU, Miles Brennan, and Max Johnson will both be at Manning.
There we go. So will Matt Corral, among others.
Yep.
That's Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show and the Modelo guest line. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Man, he's great. Most every Tuesday at 8:30. Mike Detillier on the Modelo guest line. Enjoy an ice-cold Modelo with a lime this afternoon on your patio. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Bank Plus, it's more than a name, it's a promise. The show is also brought to you by Live Oaks Golf Club. Live Oaks Golf Club. And Roosevelt's, their restaurant. Delicious Philly cheesesteak sandwich, burgers and wings, all at Roosevelt's at Live Oaks. Back in a minute.